Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to VEDA. So during VEDA, at least the next couple of days, we're going to be doing like Alita recommends. So it's really just going to be a bunch of recommendation videos. I'm thinking for the next 4 days, but don't quote me on it because, you know, I'm living by the edge of my seat making these videos in real time. I have a couple backlogged, but generally speaking, I was really good at filming and then not editing, and now I don't want to go back and edit, so of course I'm just filming something new that hopefully I won't have to edit, but if I keep rambling on, then I will have to edit. I hope that makes sense. The first recommendation style video is going to be favorite authors. So I went through my gorgeous collection of books here, and I picked I picked authors that I had read at least 3 books from and liked at least 3 books from, and I'm claiming that these authors are my favorite authors and that I will read anything that they write and like anything that they write, question mark. I don't think I'll like everything that these authors write because I know for a fact that some of them have wrote some pretty gnarly books. I'm gonna start with one that I can't, because by my rules, one series only counts as 1 book, so I'm not allowed to count this author as a favorite because I've only read 2 interconnected series, not 3 books, and there have to be a minimum of 3 books. But an honorable mention is Abby Jimenez because, I love her. I've said it a million times, but I'll say it 1,000,001 times. I would read anything that Abby wrote, even if it's just a grocery list. I would read it. But in all seriousness, I've loved all but 1 book by this author, and the one that I didn't love, I still ended up liking. It just didn't have that normal Abby charm that I'm so looking forward to when I read Abby's books. But that's why it is honorable mention rather than favorite book. But let's be real, Abby Jimenez, whew, one of my favorites. Then Emily Henry. I have actually read 4 books by Emily Henry. I've read Beach Read. I've read The People We Meet on Vacation. I didn't like that one. I've read Funny Story and Happy Place. Happy Place is my first favorite, then Funny Story, then Beach Read, then People We Meet on Vacation, and that is precisely why I don't own a physical copy. I would like to either have paperbacks of these 2 or a hardcover of this one, but realistically I just want the paperbacks because I like them more. But Emily Henry, ooh, see, the thing about Emily Henry books is that she writes such daunting, such incredible romances, but they have heart, kind of like Abby Jimenez. Emily Henry's books usually deal with some kind of harder topic that maybe you don't realize right away. And if I tell you, then there's spoilers. But just know that in Happy Place, which is my favorite Emily Henry book, you follow Wynn and Byron. It's not Harriet and Wynn, and they've been separated for like 6 months. They've been broken up for 6 months, but they both get an invitation to their friends' summer trip, and they haven't told anyone that they're not together anymore. So they decide that they're both gonna go and they're gonna pretend like everything's okay with each other, and no fake dating and marriage on the rocks. Although I think it was just like a long-term relationship, but it's the same concept. Funny story, definite New Girl vibes. This one, funny story, made me laugh out loud, which doesn't happen often in books. And Beach Read, everyone knows Beach Read, so I'm not going to pitch it to you, but I liked Beach Read. It was my first Emily Henry book, and I think if I would have started with People We Meet on Vacation, I probably wouldn't have read anything else from this author. Okay, these next 4 books are from the incredible talent known as Ali Hazelwood. So here's the thing. I have also really hated Ali Hazelwood's work. So I have no interest in Bride. Never in a million years am I going to read that. I've DNF deepened 5 or 6 times this year. I'm finally just over it. I'm not going to read it. And her short story collections really rub me the wrong way. So that leaves us with the 4 that I absolutely adore. So there's The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain, both by Ali Hazelwood. And they're like STEM romances. They're really, really cute. I very much so enjoy them. Then there's Not in Love and Love Theoretically, and these are more STEM romances too, but in Not in Love it's like forbidden and kind of steamy, and Love Theoretically is like rival colleagues, and you know, I think they start fake dating. I don't remember. And then, you know, it's just like, just Ali Hazelwood. I like her more contemporary, like longer novels. I'm not really a short story girly, so I don't really think it's Ali's fault that I didn't like Loath to Love You or whatever her short story bind up was. The last one in that really just disturbed me. I don't know what was going on in my head, but part of me wants to reread it just to see if that actually happened on paper or not, or if I'm just making things up in my head. But I don't like short story collection. I just don't like short stories often. So there's that. Then my next 3, so she just barely made the cut. And no, these are not the only 3 that I've read by Miss Darcy Coates, but these are the 3 that I've loved the most. I've read a couple that I don't really like. I don't like her haunted stuff, which is 90% of her catalog is like ghosts or hauntings. I don't jive with them. I don't like them. I get bored by them. But her contemporary stuff, so good. So there's Hunted by Darcy Coates, which is like a survival story. The friendships, the family in here is amazing because Elaine went missing while she was hiking, and her brother Chris goes to where she was last supposed to be and starts an investigation of his own to try to get his sister back, and things go wild, and I just loved it. Then there's Dead Lake by Darcy Coates. This one follows this woman who is named Sam. She is at this like cabin in the middle of nowhere, but she's being stalked. That's all you have to know. And then Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates. This one's actually a short story collection. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's like 4 short stories in here, I think. Ghost Camera was okay. Out of the 3 of them, Ghost Camera is my least favorite. I still gave it 4 stars, and I still enjoyed it, and I would still recommend it. But it's more like paranormal and ghostly than the contemporary ones, and I am a contemporary. Like, I love all of my books to be contemporary and take place in this world. Imagine that. Okay. Then this is one that I always say is one that comes to mind when I think of my favorite author. I've read everything except for his new book, With a Vengeance. But that is Riley Sager. Home Before Dark. This is a haunted house story that I didn't end up liking. Like, I gave it 1 star the first time I read it, and then I reread it last year, and I think I gave it 3 stars. It's fine, but it doesn't have the same Riley Sager atmosphere and like and plot twists. Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I am of the unpopular opinion that this might be my favorite book by him. Does she make some questionable decisions? Absolutely. But you follow this girl in the 90s. Charlie. Okay. Charlie gets in the back of in the passenger seat of Josh's car, so it's like a road trip type thing. He's taking her home from college. And they're not really friends, but they start bonding over this road trip. But there's also like this layer of there are murders happening at the college that they're coming from, and like, can they trust each other? And this was diabolical. Okay, like, yes, she makes some very questionable choices, and I might have rolled my eyes a couple of times, but I love this kind of thriller. So Riley Sager, if you're listening, please make more Survive the Night style books. The only one left by Riley Sager, I actually don't remember this all that much. I remember loving it in the moment. I think I gave it 5 stars, but I can't tell you a single thing about it. Then there's this one about a drunk girl. Like, she's watching her neighbors and she drinks all the time, and I hated that one. Like, absolute trash. I love you, Riley Sager, but trash. Then I have Final Girls by Riley Sager. This was his debut, and it's like an ode to slasher films, and like the final girls from different different tragedies, and then, you know, one of them dies, and the other lady doesn't believe that it was suicide like they're trying to say. So she kind of low-key starts to investigate, and then things get awesome, get interesting. So much fun. Love that one. Really enjoyed Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. I am of the unpopular opinion that I didn't love the ending. Like, here's the thing, it ties it up too well in a nice little bow, and I didn't want that. I wanted her to die, or just something crazy, and this wasn't quite crazy enough. But you follow Jules, who gets this job at this apartment complex where she basically has to house it for 3 months, 2 months, and she's not allowed to have visitors. She's not allowed to spend nights anywhere else. There's a bunch of weird rules, but she ultimately agrees because she needs the money. And then things go crazy, but not crazy enough. I think this Lock Every Door should have been like 9 notches crazier, and I would have liked it that much more. Not that I didn't like it. I gave it 5 stars. It was great. I highly recommend it. But it's not crazy enough for me. And then the last one is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I've read this summertime camp mystery / thriller 4 times now. I very much so enjoyed it. But Riley Sager, yes, please. Okay. Then, another thriller author is Simone St. James. So here's the thing. I have read some of Simone St. James's older stuff, and the one that I read was like ghostly and paranormal, and it was like a long time ago, 1930 something. I don't like those kind of stories, but I do love her newer, more modern stuff. So there's The Sundown Motel, The Broken Girls, and Murder Road. I know everyone hated Murder Road, but I am once again of the unpopular opinion that Murder Road is one of Simone St. James's best, if not her very best. I think that I like The Sundown Motel, Murder Road, and then The Broken Girls in that order. Like, she is really good at like dual timeline, and there's some kind of investigation going on, and we're trying to piece everything together. Murder Road was completely off the chains for her. It was like this couple picks up a hitchhiker, and she's been stabbed, and they're trying to get her to the hospital, and then stuff just goes wild from there. I guess by the rule that you have to have at least read 3 books by this author and enjoyed them, then, but this only counts as one series. Ooh, no. Okay, Suzanne Collins is not one of my favorite, only because I've only read The Hunger Games by this author. Love The Hunger Games, but don't know about this author for other books. Okay, then we have TJR, Taylor Jenkins Reid. I do not like her historical stuff. I'm not a historical reader, but her contemporaries. So I read Evelyn Hardcastle? Evelyn Hugo. It was fine, but I was confused. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And I haven't read anything else in that world because I don't think I'm going to like it. It's usually about someone famous. It's historical. It's not my cup of tea. But I have read After I Do, Forever Interrupted, and One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And oh my god, this is perfection. If you want a good cry, read any of these, but definitely, I think I cried the most in Forever Interrupted. This follows Elsie and her new husband, Ben. And Ben goes out to get, like, cereal or pizza. Oh, no, pizza. He went to go get cereal from the supermarket, and he was driving his motorcycle back when he crashed. And he didn't survive. That's why it's Forever Interrupted. And this is like the aftermath of him dying. And I think they'd only been married for 9 days. This is my least favorite one of the 3 books. Still loved it, but the others are better. This is One True Loves by TJR. This one follows Emma, who marries Jesse, her high school sweetheart, and then he goes on a business trip a couple years later, and his plane crashes and he's dead. And it took her several years to finally move on with her life, but she's starting to, get her broken pieces together, and she meets this boy named Sam, and he, full-heartedly loves her, and he's so understanding and so patient and so tender with her. And then Jesse comes back, and so he clearly didn't die in that plane crash, but he has this crazy survival story, and I loved the survival story. I didn't like this as a romance between Jesse and Emma. I don't think we got enough of Jesse and Emma before Jesse seemingly died. So I didn't see myself rooting for him. That's all I'm going to say. This is my favorite, though, for sure. After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This follows Lauren and Ryan, who have been married for 7 years, I think. And they are not getting along anymore. They're fighting all the time. They're letting life get in the way of them being happy together. So they come to the conclusion that they need to take a year apart. So just no more marriage. They can't contact each other, nothing. And they take that year apart. And they really understand what the other person was doing for them, and how much Lauren actually loves Ryan, and how much Ryan loves and takes care of Lauren. And the entire time I'm fighting, I'm wanting them together, and just hoping and praying that they see the error in their ways and see that they need to be together, because they are good without each other, but they are great with each other. And this one just honestly felt like I was putting a mirror up for me and my husband. We've been together for several years, We've been together for a long time. We've been married for a long time. But before we got married, so we were dating for 7 years before we got married. And there was a breaking point for us where I didn't think we were going to come back together. I thought that it was the end. Like, truly. And so when I hear about Ryan and Lauren's story and their marriage, then it just like takes me back to that negative place with my husband, and it just makes me so sad. But this one was so good. Okay, and our last favorite author has 5 books. I have read almost everything by this author and have loved these 5. But I did not like One Night Stand. My favorite Half Night Stand. I didn't like that one. I'll just show you the ones I did like. The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. And Dating You, Hating You. This one is like I hate to love, but it's not like real hate. There are levels of hate, and maybe I should do a video on that at some point. But there's like levels of hate. There's like low hate where they kind of just misunderstand each other, but they don't really like each other. They're kind of like opposites and just don't really understand where the other one's coming from. Yeah, that's kind of this one. And I guess while we're on that note, kind of the Unhoneymooners too. But this one, it was so funny because you follow Olive, who looks just like, her identical twin sister is Amy, and Amy's getting married to Dean, I believe. And Dean and Amy and everyone gets food poisoning at the wedding. And the only 2 that didn't get food poisoning are Olive and the groom's brother, Ethan. And these 2 really strongly dislike each other. And they're forced to go on her sister and his brother's honeymoon. And then they, kind of fall in love. And it was sweet and so cute. Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. This is a Friends to Lovers. Probably my favorite Friends to Lovers. This follows Hazel and Josh. Hazel is like a kindergarten teacher, which is so cute. Hazel and Josh knew each other in college, and I'm pretty sure she had a pretty big crush on him, but he, as far as she knows, doesn't have one on him. On her. He doesn't like her like that. So they start sending each other up on blind dates, and the blind dates go horribly wrong, so Josh and Hazel end up going home with each other every night. It was so cute. Then there's Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This one is about Macy. I believe this is like a second chance romance. It's actually been a while since I've read this one, but I remember really enjoying it. And then The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. This one came out last year. And I don't remember their names. Anna and Liam. Anna and Liam used to live together in college. They were roommates, but his family thought that they were married. So they got married so that she could go to school for cheap. But his family thought that it was a true marriage. Like real love. And now it's 3 years later, and as far as Anna knows, there's no marriage anymore. Like, they got it annulled or whatever. But Liam contacts her and says, hey, I need you to be my fake wife for my sister's wedding, so let's go. And then she's like, I'm not doing that. And then he's like, okay, fine, here's the truth, we're really married. You need to come pretend that we've been together for the last 3 years, and when we come home, I will annul the marriage or get divorced finally. And she's like, blackmail, perfect. And then they go to this romantic wedding in Hawaii, I believe. And slowly but surely they stop hating each other and really, really love each other. And well, start to love, start to fall in love. And like, it was so good. So those are my favorite authors. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a single day of VEDA.